I swear we've got an intro coming.
Welcome to another thrilling episode of Friday Eye, the podcast that propels small businesses into the future with the power of artificial intelligence. Today, your journey through the AI revolution is guided by an exceptional trio. First, we introduce Andrew Wall, a visionary in the realm of cloud-based accounting for small businesses and a maestro in leveraging AI for market research. Andrew's insights are a beacon for entrepreneurs looking to navigate the complexities of today's digital landscape. Next, we have Qasim Mukhtar, the tech guru whose innovative strategies and AI application have redefined competitive edges for businesses. Qasim's forward-thinking approach uncovers new pathways for using technology to leapfrog competitors. And then, providing a critical balance to our discussion is Rachel Stedman. Rachel, our devil's advocate for AI, brings a healthy skepticism to the conversation, challenging assumptions and urging us to consider the implications of AI integration. Her perspective ensures a well-rounded exploration of AI's role in business, making for a dynamic and thought-provoking dialogue. In today's episode, Unleashing AI in Market Research, a game changer for small businesses, we're diving deep into how AI can transform your market research efforts. Uncover AI's unmatched ability in data analysis to identify key market trends and customer insights. Learn from Qasim how AI provides a deeper understanding of your competition and customer needs. Hear from Andrew about making strategic moves with AI, from refining business plans to tailoring marketing strategies. Rachel will be here to question, challenge, and ultimately enrich our understanding of AI's impact, ensuring we consider both the opportunities and the potential pitfalls. Prepare for an episode packed with actionable advice, perfect for entrepreneurs ready to explore the AI revolution in market research with a critical eye. Get ready, tune in, and let this be the moment your business strategy is transformed by the power of AI. With all its potential laid bare, the future of market research starts now.
Woohoo! Thank you, ChatGPT. Another incredible introduction.
It is good.
She does a good job. I like her. I'm gonna keep bringing her back week after week, and she, her fees are very reasonable, so I'm happy to do that. I'm excited to be back with another great episode, and we're gonna start you guys off strong with 10 strategies to unleash AI into your market research. So there's a 10-step process here. We're going to be diving into this throughout the episode, but let me start you off strong with the 10 tips that you need to unleash AI into your marketing strategies. So first and foremost, you need to actually understand the capabilities of the AI models and the LLMs. Step 2 is to define your research objectives. Step 3 is going to be to actually gather the data that you'll use for your market research. Step 4 will be to actually identify the market trends. Step 5 will be to conduct the competitor analysis. Step 6 will be to gain customer insights. Step 7 is to develop a business plan. Step 8 is to develop a marketing strategy. Step 9 is to actually experiment and use predictive analysis. And then step 10 is to implement and monitor your strategy. So we've got lots of things to go through in today's episode. But really, it starts with understanding where the actual capabilities of these AI models lie and how you're going to actually be able to leverage artificial intelligence into your market research. So, Qasim, do you mind starting us off with helping us understand what the real capabilities of these models are and how we can use them?
Sure, 100%. That's the first step, and it's really important. And I feel like we should start it off with an exercise like we did last time. And I want you to imagine.
We love your exercises.
Okay, I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. So I want you to imagine that you're slicing through hours of market research with a tool that's not just smart, but superhuman smart. And that's the power and capabilities of AI and large language models that we're talking about here, right? So it's like really important to sort of understand the limitations, because think of it this way. When you buy a new car, or when you buy a new gadget, when you buy a new computer, whatever it is, you always first try to figure out how fast I can, how far I can push it, how fast can it go? Does it fit my needs? Does it suit my needs? And what are the things that I can achieve out of it? And that's what AI is at its core, right? Because for market research, before you dive into the nitty gritty of performing any specific things and performing any data analysis or scraping any data off the internet, it's really important to experiment with these models first, right? To try and input different data into it, whether it's in PDF formats, whether it's in web page formats, or whatever it is, to actually figure out how it works. That's the important part, because with trial and error, you'll see that there's some sort of data that LLMs like ChatGPT just absolutely love, right? And then there's some form of data which it absolutely hates, right? It'll go through like 5 iterations before just saying, okay, I give up, try something else, or give me another set of data, right? So
Right.
I don't know if have you guys played around with the limitations and capabilities of ChatGPT in terms of market research or data analysis?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have for sure played around with it and run up against some issues. I think one of the things that I think people struggle with, and what they think of market research, is expecting the AI to be able to go up and give you all these stats around the market and market size. And, I'm not saying that it can't do that, but it hasn't been the most effective tool for doing that in my experience. But when you bring the data in and having it analyze it and help you with the market research, when you have data to work with, it can be truly effective there. But I think if you want to just be like, hey, I'm starting a business, how big is the market size? And can you tell me, what the ideal client would be? I think that you're not going to get the most out of it. Right. When I think you've defined who your customer is, and you understand, a little bit about it, some data around market size and stuff like that, then you can use the AI to really get some effective insights into it, right? You can start asking the AI to act as if it were your customer. You can build a that acts as if it were your customer and begin to ask it, questions like, hey, if you were an IT consultant and you were thinking about, moving from desktop-based software to cloud-based software, what concerns would you have? And that can be really insightful in your market research to sort of have these conversations with faux clients. And that's incredible market research. But I think if you're looking to say, hey, how many customers out there, how many IT consultants are there that want to convert from desktop to cloud? I don't know if it's going to give you the answers that you're looking for. At least that's some of the limitations that I've seen. I don't know if that aligns with the issues and limitations you've seen, Kasim.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's 100% accurate, because when you type in and we go back to this again and again, LLMs are garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah.
When you give it a general query which has no context and which doesn't describe anything, the output is going to be pretty vague, and it's going to be, for the most part, not something you can actually apply, right? Now, if anyone watching the podcast, if you've taken a business class or a marketing class at university or something, there's like all sorts of these models called TAM-SAM-SOM or pest analysis or SWOT analysis or whatever it is that people do before it's either before starting a business or even during their business, right? If they want to take things to the next level, that's the kind of market research that you have to think about. And as Andrew mentioned, it's really important to confine the broad spectrum of LLMs and ChatGPT by giving it context, right? That's extremely important. If you give it its limitations and you tell it that, these are the parameters that you want to focus on, whether it could be the market that you're in, the city that you're in, down to even the neighborhood that you're in. And if you, really narrow it down to your customer base, what's their age, what's their gender balance, whatever it is, then it can be really productive and give you the most productive outputs, right? So that's the thing that you have to be really cognizant about. Rachel, what's your perspective on this entire thing?
Devil's advocates, any concerns?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about my paid days when I worked at a market research firm. And that's when I was one of the people that will be harassing you in the evening at night when you're home and maybe watching your favorite show. and this unknown caller calls and starts to ask you questions to try and get your feedback and get some research. I'm sure everybody's experienced that before. But of course, the way we acquired, research data back in the day, when you think about it, you got to hire big firms and, trying to be able to decipher through it, it's quite antiquated compared to now when you can use AI to be able to get this at your fingertips, right? Mm-hmm. So, I will say there is some pros in using AI to be able to get this information, because it's so important for business owners. You have to be able to know what's out there, what's the market, what are people looking for, right? Because that drives the success of your business. Because if you're trying to, you're coming out with a business idea, a business plan, or a solution to something that is not a problem, right? Then, you're going to have very little success. So really being able to hone in to this data and be able to determine how you're going to use that to shape, your business down the road, from everything from your business plan to your marketing strategies, et cetera, it is very important. So I think that the use of AI is actually very beneficial for small business owners, because you can tap into acquiring this information, which, generations before would not have been easy to be able to have access to. So I think there's a lot to be said that this can provide a significant value to small business owners, for sure.
Absolutely. And maybe that's a good transition point to step two.
We agree that AI is useful. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. I did not say it as broadly as that.
I think she did. We're going to stick with that.
No, I'm making a reference to, in this particular use of AI. But if you want to run with it and say that, fine, I guess it's recorded. You can always take a snapshot still 5 seconds ago and say, this is what you said.
We're going to put that on a loop and play it for everyone in the office over and over again. But let's hold on to that excitement for a second, because it's like, let's unlock the first real secret of, market mastery when it comes to using AI. And that is around setting objectives, right? Which is step 2. And, setting objectives that are actually like as sharp as a laser is, it might seem basic, but you have to think about what are the goals of the organization and tie those into what you're actually doing with your AI research and your market analysis. And I think one of the things that I think that you can do is leverage the AI to actually help you figure out what are the important questions that you actually might need to know and understand to help your business thrive, right? So if you're at that point where you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what kind of market analysis and market research do I need to do? It really comes down to, like, what are the questions that I need to understand about my customers and about the market in order to help my business succeed? And if you don't know what those questions are, this is another place that AI is going to come into the fold in helping you to figure out what those goals are. And like I say, the best way to do it is to just launch ChatGPT, initiate a conversation, start telling it about who your customer base is, what the services that you provide, what you're hoping to do, whether that's to grow your market share or to increase your profitability per customer, or whatever your goal is, to sell X amount of widgets. Tell it what your objectives is, and then start asking it, what are the questions that I should be looking to understand to better understand my market, so that you can set clear objectives when you move on to the next stage of actually doing market research. And before you even gather data, you need to have that end in mind, right? So you need to know, like, what's the goal that you're trying to get out of this market research? What's your objective here? And if you don't know what it should be, this is another great way that you can integrate AI into your market research, is by helping it to help you define your goals and objectives, because the purpose of all of this really is to help you build actionable insights for your business. And the first step is knowing what those insights should be, right? So I really can't stress the importance here of sort of aligning that market-driven research with the specific business goals. What do you guys think? Do you think that there's other ways that we can leverage AI in sort of defining those original research objectives?
I think I think what you said was really important, because there's this phrase that I always go back to, which is a goal without a plan is just a wish, right?
Mhm.
So unless and until you have that plan, when you have that first step, you understand the limitations. Now, the next thing, which is really important to continue your market research, is to realize what you're researching for, right? What your
Yeah.
objectives are. And that's really important. So my sort of suggestion to people on how to leverage AI to come up with this plan is to, I keep going back to this example in the previous episodes as well. If you watch our previous episodes, you must know that we implemented this within our own company. Like, we were sitting in a marketing meeting, and we said that, hey, we need to come up with KPIs and benchmarks that we need to test us on every month, and make sure that we're performing well, to make sure that we're not lacking, what the areas of improvement are, and stuff like that. And we input all of that, our job descriptions, into ChatGPT, and boom, it came up with KPIs. Right now, the important part, everyone can do that. That's the easy part. The important part is to filter those out and use that human input and human touch to figure out which of those objectives are useful to you and to what you're trying to achieve, right? Because the problem that I feel like, with not just with AI, but with the entire landscape of internet right now, is that it's not that we don't have information, it's that we have too much information, right? And it's really important to sort of filter through, dial down, and make sure that we're hyper focused on what we're trying to achieve.
It can be overwhelming if you're trying to look for trends and stuff. You don't even know where to begin when you're overwhelmed with the data.
Yep.
I mean, I think also with ChatGPT, where that can kind of help is, I mean, I can understand as a business owner, you know, you have everything in your mind, right? But it needs to be, you know, down in a plan. It has to be structured. It has to be, you know, almost put pen to paper. And nobody else needs, you know, nobody understands your business better than you should, in fact, right? But sometimes it's, you know, even if with all the rumblings in your mind, you know, it's okay to just kind of throw all of those little ideas, little tidbits, and throw that in and just say, okay, now ChatGPT, I need you to make sense of all of these ideas, course them through my mind. And then, because even for some of these business owners, they know what they want to do, but as to how to start or how to get there might be a complete different story, right? And then sometimes just kind of, you know, again, the use of data and, you know, putting that in of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what you're looking to do. And it will really kind of help you to outline and then give you those objectives, right? Give you that kind of bit of that path, so that, you know, all that, you know, rumbling in your mind now makes sense. You can kind of put it together. Because I think sometimes people struggle with that. They have the ideas, but then how to be able to translate that into, you know, something that will lead to success might be a completely different thing, right? So, you know, that can kind of help to kind of put something together where you can see, okay, all right, now I kind of, maybe it gives you a little bit of better, AI will help you understand what's in your mind, in a sense.
Right. Now, speaking of gathering data, I mean, Rachel, you're one of my go-to people for helping gather and sort information around our customers. Do you have any insights on gathering data when it comes to, like, you've done your objectives now, you know, you're ready to move on to step 3, which is to gather your data? Insights on that aspect of the process, whether it's using AI or just, you know, gathering data in general.
So data, I'm sure I've got this from Christine. Data is like gold, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the new thing that everybody wants to, you know, kind of mine. And I mean, here's the thing. Data is very important in this digital era, right? But the question really lies, you know, how much of this, you know, mining of this gold do we want to do without getting lost, right? With all of this, because it can get a little overwhelming, okay? So you have to really, first of all, determine what type of information that you're looking for, okay? And really utilize AI to be able to streamline that, right? It's important that we explain the use of AI in the efficient gathering of relevant, you know, market information, okay? I mean, even for us, in terms of operating with our clients, it is so important that we have that input, right? We know what the client's expectation are, what they're looking for. And then, you know, what I've even noticed sometimes, it's like, yeah, a client might say that's what they want, but we might know, well, that's not what you really want. You think that's what you want, right?
Right.
And then, we can shed light on, well, this is really what is maybe more important to you, or what you should really think of. So, gathering the information is really allowing us to be able to determine, once we have this, what then do we provide to a client, right? What services are we providing? How are we providing them? What way can we, better the client experience, right? So yes,
Right.
so whether it is getting information from clients through survey responses or feedback, that is very important. Like, I don't think, businesses should eliminate the importance of feedback, gathering that information, and then using that information to tailor, what your next steps are, what,
Right.
what
And
you
you might
do with
use AI, you might use a standard form. I mean, it doesn't really matter
something
how
like
you're getting that data, but then you can use AI to maybe collate that data and to, determine if there's subgroups within your client base that might have unique needs, and to look for those trends that you wouldn't know to look for, right?
Yeah.
And then to maybe take that data and to sort of segregate it, as well as quality control checks on it, right? To look for, like, do you have duplicates? Do you have things that look like spam email addresses? And you can use the AI to do some of that heavy lifting on the data that you might have gathered in traditional formats. Maybe there are even old school paper surveys that you're now just going to scan, and you can load those in as a PDF into
Yep.
an AI engine, right? And what I think is really exciting too is that there's new ways of gathering and collecting data that can make the process easier for you.
Yeah.
Because before, if you took a paper survey, you'd maybe have to have someone read every single survey and then they use their mind to determine some sort of market analysis. Now you can just literally scan those and ask the AI to analyze the feedback in sentiment based, or to segregate it based on common issues, or whatever data points you're looking for that you hopefully have done in your first step of sort of identifying your goals and your objectives. And now you can have the AI analyzing that data in new ways that can make you so much more effective in your market analysis.
For sure, 100%. Because, I think that, so here's my 2 cents on gathering data. Because the first thing which I think we kind of have to be cognizant about is that whatever data you input into the LLM, you have to make sure that it's not really biased, right? That you're pulling it in from different sources, right? So if it's data related to the economy, the stocks, or trends within the market, or whatever it is, try and make sure that you gather in as much perspective as possible to make sure that you're not leaning towards one particular direction, to make sure that AI has all the context and it can be as neutral and as unbiased as possible, right? That's the first thing. And going to Andrew's example, which, it's so cool that you can sort of collect form responses and then use AI to analyze what the sentiment analysis is, how the customers feel. One tip for people watching who want to get into market research using AI is that what you can do is that you can maybe go to your competitors or people within the same niche and industry and try and pull in all their customer reviews, right? Whatever reviews they have, whether it's on Google, whether it's on Facebook, whatever it is. And then you can also import all of the services that they're providing against those reviews, and try and use AI to determine what are the gaps in the services they're offering, right?
Yeah.
Because with customer reviews, you can figure out what is it that customers are missing. Maybe it's customer service that they're not getting. That could be your unique selling point, your value proposition. So those, I feel like, and when you sort of extrapolate that to other forms of data, and customer reviews is just a small, tiny example. When you extrapolate that to other components of market research and competitive analysis, I think the horizons are pretty much unlimited, for improvement.
I couldn't agree with you.
Question though. When we think about gathering data and utilizing that as different strategies within a business, what do you think holds more weight? Driven data from customers and reviews, or data based on trends? Or what do we think is more? Are they just as
See,
equally impactful?
I
Like,
think
where do you focus on when you're, making these decisions? Do I think about what my clients are saying that they need now, and these are the individuals that I'm generating my income from, or do I think of, okay, the future trends and the potential? So I guess, which is more important to focus on?
Yeah, so I think that there's two things to look at, right? There's your existing client data, and then what's going on in the other sort of general
Mm,
market. And I think you do want to look at both. I don't know if it's that you're prioritizing one over the other, because it depends on what the objective that we started with that we're trying to achieve.
mhm,
And I think both can be incredibly insightful. Like, I think when you look at Kasim's analysis of going through your customer reviews and doing some analysis on, what customers said, what are the issues there. Well, think about broadening that out and going and pulling data on your competitors, um, you know, Google reviews. And so now you not only have the analysis and the market analysis on what your customers are facing, you've now got a broader analysis on what's going on across multiple firms or businesses across your industry.
mhm.
And you can start to see the broader trends, because I think it's absolutely critical to know and understand what's going on with your customer base. But you also have to look at the macro picture and look at what's going on across the industry.
Yeah.
And when it comes to identifying those market trends, it can be overwhelming, right? Like, it's a sea of information.
Mhm,
But that's where you've got the opportunity to turn to that trend spotting wizard, which is AI. And it's,
Yep.
not just about keeping up, but it's now staying ahead and allowing you to have insights into things that you didn't even know you should be looking for. And you can
Right.
cut through all this noise like just like it's butter, right? And you now have the ability to be able to spot these trends that you didn't even know what to look for, by just scraping and pulling the data and allowing AI to sort of become the tool to help you, elevate your business. And it's incredibly powerful, that what it can do around sentiment analysis, what it can do about spotting trends,
Mhm.
and these could be really effective in helping your business uncover those subtle market shifts that you might have missed in a manual process.
For sure. And like, speaking of market trends, because there's like so much stuff going on in market research and data analysis, which people kind of overlook. Because when we're talking about trends, and when I say, okay, I have this graph which is going relatively linearly, right? But then there's some peaks and then there's some dips in it, right? You can even use LLMs to sort of figure out what triggered those. Are those something which is sustainable? Is this something which historically happens, or was this just a fluke? Was this just an outlier which we can discount and clean the data from that, right? So there's a whole ton of stuff that you can do with understanding trends. And my biggest advice to people watching is to try and experiment with different file formats within LLMs like ChatGPT, right? Because when you play around with it, when you input an Excel file with a certain trend of certain something, or when you input a CSV file, I can guarantee you it's going to break at some point, and there would be a fix for it. It's not like it's going to break permanently, but you
Mhm.
have to constantly iterate and ask it questions and limit your context, and maybe even clean the data before you give it, right? To
Mhm.
make sure that it doesn't break. And that all comes with practice and making sure that you use these tools, right?
Yeah, well, we've got our first series of questions. We've got actually quite a few coming through on social now. Apologize, I missed these earlier, but it actually transitions well to where we are in the conversation, which is going on to our next step around competitor analysis. So Iman asks, how would you suggest we use AI to conduct a comprehensive competitor analysis? And I know, Kasim, you've got some insights onto this, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Are you guys up for another exercise, or is it getting too much?
We
Uh,
love your exercises. Bring them on. Yeah.
Mhm.
okay, awesome. I like it. Okay. Now, I want you to imagine that you can commit business espionage but in a completely legal way. Now, how cool would that be, right? And that's what we can do with AI right now in terms of competitive analysis. Because going back to my customer reviews example, now that's something which we can figure out to understand the gaps and figure out where our competitors are lacking, so we can offer those services and add them as our value propositions. But I think it can be extended so much more, because you can essentially download the entire social media library or entire blog library or whatever it is from people within the same industry and similar niche, and sort of reverse engineer that to figure out what their marketing strategy is, right? What kind of tone they're using, what kind of people they're reaching out to. If their marketing strategy is successful, you can sort of replicate that for your own business, right? Because when we talk about market research and competitive analysis, it's so much more than collecting 2 3 sets of data. It's about understanding the bigger picture, right? How that company is operating, what channels is it operating across, what their customer base is, and apply that, sort of take the good stuff out of it and apply that in your business, right? So that, I feel like, is very important to sort of figure out. And you can sort of replicate that with other aspects as well. Right now, this might not apply too much to small business owners, but hypothetically, what big companies can do is that they can pull public financial data of other companies, and they can run trends on that to see how they're performing, to how that can impact us, right? So I think it can be a really powerful tool to reverse engineer what your competitors or whatever those other people in the similar niches are doing, and apply that strategy to your own business. But the caveat, which is really important, make sure that it's tweaked and customized according to your own process, your own business, right? Because as Rachel said, you are the one who knows your business the best. It's not AI, it's not anyone else, it's you, right? It's really important to give that context to. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think it's incredibly powerful because, like you said, we've got swaths of data, whether you're comparing against publicly traded companies and being able to get their quarterly reports and analyze that, which is really incredibly powerful now thanks to AI. Because doing that kind of analysis in the past for a small business was just not really realistic. But not only that, you now can do like real-time, real-world data analysis. Like, so if your companies are out there posting on social and doing this, you can scrape all that data and you can analyze it, right? Like, so if you've got a competitor who's doing a kick-ass job, for us, like H&R Block is like sort of one of the big competitors online for social media. Like, they're the one we've always been trying to beat. Like, to be honest, to beat the top, the big four accounting firms is actually relatively easy compared to beating H&R Block. But now you can do that real-time analysis of like, okay, what are they putting out as far as content, and what are they getting as far as engagement, and do that real-time competitor analysis about what they're doing, online and in social, and whatever data that you can pull and gather. And it's incredibly powerful now. And this is stuff that was just not available to a small business before in a meaningful way. And now it's relatively easy to do. You can, hook up, a Zapier tool you can have, a Google alert set up that goes to a Zapier, that then goes to a sentiment analysis, that goes to a GPT. Like, it sounds complicated, but actually this is all stuff that you need to know. You don't have to have any developing experience. You don't need to be a coder. It's all drag and drop. And with Zapier, it's now got AI built into it. So you just say, I want to be able to pull from a Google alert and send it to a GPT, and it will build out that Zap for you. It's to me exciting times in the ability for businesses to be able to do competitor analysis in ways that historically have just been unattainable for small businesses.
Here's the thing, though. Now, that kind of thing, which I know you guys peek over, that's the part of AI I don't like. Because then I think of it on the flip side, right? Yes, there are some pros for individuals that are looking to see what is my competitor doing and then try and mimic that. But then I have to think of it as if I'm a small business owner and I've gone through all of my struggles to build and develop and, curate, certain strategies, etc., on what I'm doing. And then here comes somebody who is literally ripping off everything that I'm doing and now is entering the market space, and you are potentially stealing or having a competitive advantage almost from my information, right? From my blood, sweat, and tears, from, what I have put in to get to where I am with my business. So that's the other part of it that I kind of don't like. Now, okay, fair enough.
But the reality is R&D has stand for rip off and duplicate for years before AI existed.
Your definition, Andrew. That's not the general business definition, right?
Yep.
I mean, one thing if we're looking at the giants to see, okay, hey, what are the giants doing and how can we replicate that model a little bit? But then it's when it's those smaller businesses that now it's making it so much more harder for you to compete. That even if you go through all of this and you've created an amazing plan, strategy, etc., you always have to keep on top, because the minute you kind of, slow down, well, the next person has come in, copied everything that you've done, and then now is doing even more. So it's just that continuous hustle to be on top. It's almost like it's not just about building this and you're good, right?
But I think as an entrepreneur, it is about a continuous hustle to always be on top. And it has always been that way, period. But I also think, I always have the abundance mindset that just because someone is doing a great job doesn't mean that there isn't room for you to do a great job beside them. I don't think that it steals away from someone for you to be in the same space, competing with them. Like, you look at social media as an example, and there's tons of amazing influence out there, and there's space for all of them, even space for influencers who are talking about the same subject because they talk about it differently. And I think that no matter what business you're in, it's about what do you do differently, not what do you do better, right? And I think that's a mindset shift that a lot of people need to make, is switch from trying to be better than everyone to trying to be different from the other person. So how do you differentiate yourself? So it's one thing to do this competitor analysis, and quite frankly, if you just go off and rip off and duplicate and just copy exactly what they do, I don't think you're going to be successful for very long, if you are successful at all. Where I think that you can do is you could do this analysis and be like, what are they doing really well? How can I add my voice and make something unique that is similar and that works in collaboration with what these are doing? Because I also think that businesses that collaborate with other businesses and find a way to work with their competitors are the people that ultimately succeed.
For sure, and I couldn't agree more. I don't think it's a zero-sum game. To be honest, I think we can all sort of work together. But I couldn't agree more with that last part, Andrew. That if you just rip it off verbatim, it's not going to work 100%, because those strategies that that company or your competitor is using, it's tailored for them specifically. Now, the underarching theme, there's this example that we taken, because I'm a musician, not very good, not very talented, but I like to.
Yeah, you still owe us a Taylor Swift song, although we can't.
That's okay. Not gonna back away from it. So it's like when you're trying to learn a lick, whether it's a guitar lick or piano lick, you have to go to the root of it and see what the underlying scale is, what the underlying theory is. And I think that's what you have to do with your market research, right? Because when you come up with a marketing strategy of your competitor, try and understand what is it that they're doing and add your own spin to it. That's what's going to help you succeed, right?
And so we've got some questions from the audience still that's coming through. So they're saying, now that you're understanding your competitor is vital, how can AI further to enhance our insights into customers' behaviors and preferences? I think it's by allowing it to spot trends that you wouldn't normally be able to spot. It's also about allowing you to segment your client data into ways that you may not have thought about. You might think, I got to segment my clients by IT consultants, doctors, and realtors, but there might be commonalities in those three groups and other ways that people have things in common that you hadn't thought about. Like, hey, what about looking at these not from the different industries that they're in, but more around their net worth. Hey, do you have money invested inside your corporation? You're going to have different needs than someone who is taking all their money out. And allowing AI to spot those trends that you wouldn't normally otherwise spot, where you're going to get the power out of AI. And that goes all the way back to the beginning, though, which is right, starting with your objective and your purpose. Like, what are you trying to achieve with your competitor analysis, not just your general market analysis? So when you're looking at your competitive analysis, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to, steal market share from, XYZ competitor? Are you trying to, figure out what your competitor is doing that you want to emulate? So a lot depends on what your goal and your objective is. But I think that where the power of AI comes in is, first of all, to be able to deal with swaths of data that you were never able to deal with in ways that you never could, by linking in Zapier and linking in automations, but also to spot those trends that you wouldn't have otherwise spotted on your own.
For sure.
For sure. And I mean, that definitely leads into, the next point, which is really gaining that customer insight, which is powerful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Deep diving into what your customer wants can feel like, quite a mystery, but, using AI as a detective in deciphering your customer insights, it is important. Okay. And it's not just about understanding your customer needs, but it's about anticipating. Right, which is really key, right? AI can be used to deep dive into customer preferences, their behaviors, their needs. And, the AI also helps to personalize your customer experience and really build that loyalty with your customers, right? Like, I mean, I think of it from an accounting perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, it's about identifying what are those pain points, what is it that clients utterly hate, and how can we find that solution for clients, right? Like, I mean, I always joke with clients, when we talk about you need to do bookkeeping for your business, and you think about back in the day, it was that old school ledger, and then came Excel, and then everybody thought Excel was key, it's best since sliced bread. And then it's like, wait a minute, there comes now the use of AI technology and the tools, right? So, and sometimes we hear a lot of clients, you say, yeah, I'm fine with Excel, I'm fine with all of those things. But it's really then, okay, you understand that's what they want, but you anticipating their needs of, okay, well, how much time are you spending on an Excel where there is better tools, technologies out there to help you to streamline a lot of things. And I've, even when I think about, us being able to pivot into really that, cloud-based tool technology used for our customers, I think our customers very much value, how at the forefront we are in regards to, trying to find better tools to help their needs, right?
Well,
so
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, I just get excited about this because, I think that the example of using AI to get customer insights is the tool that we built to improve conversions, right? That form that we do. So we have a form, there's 15 questions. Part of our initial consultation, Rachel and Karen go through these 15 questions with each of our clients, take that information, we put it into a form. The form zaps over to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, based on our prompt, basically comes back with the three most important factors based on the individual responses from that customer. It's able to go and do an analysis of that customer's specific situation and come up with the three key factors for converting that client from a prospect to a lead, and can draft a personalized message which Rachel may or may not use. And we saw a 100% increase in conversions. So we went from about 17% conversion rate to about a 33% conversion rate from before using this form to after using this form.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 100% because the AI is able to give us insights that are personalized based on not just our customers, but that actual individual customer. And that's, to me, incredibly powerful when you can leverage automation and AI to get unique customer insights, and then also to further personalizing that journey, right? Like if you're going to have a drip marketing campaign, like as a consumer, do you want to have the same templated drip marketing campaign from whoever service you're considering, or do you want to have a bespoke, customized drip marketing campaign that's based off of your individual needs, your unique situation, and it can tailor, the AI can tailor that messaging and that tone based on the way that you're interacting with it. And I think that is incredibly powerful, and we've seen it firsthand be able to drive real world value, right?
Exactly. And here's a tip for everyone watching if you want to, in terms of customer insights. So if you want to sort of see what's going on, what's trending within Google, and if that's your objective is to, put out social media content or blogs on your website, which garner the attention of as many people as possible, or I think what you can do, and it's really useful, is that you can sort of go to Google. I think it's ads.google.com, where you can sort of find the most targeted keywords, right? And you can sort of download those, export those into a CSV or an Excel file, whatever. And then you can use those keywords to come up with different phrases, different topics, different titles for your blogs, right? And I think it's so powerful because with market research and with like all this data that you're gathering, before all this analysis, it used to take so long. Like you had to sit, you had to look at the keywords and come up with the perfect title, which is compliant with SEO, and then come up with the blog, which is, has all the keywords with the right keyword density. It used to be a nightmare, right? And now with these tools, with these LLMs, you can do that within the snap of a finger, right?
Yeah.
But again, a caveat, you have to have that human touch, right? You cannot just simply rely on it. Whatever data, even if you make even if you give it the perfect prompt and it gives you a perfect answer, make sure you review it, make sure that it aligns with your goals, because that ultimately is gonna be what sets you apart from other people who are also using AI to do similar processes, right?
Couldn't agree more. Now, we did have another question that came up, and Rachel, I wanted to propose it to you. Because I know that you've actually had experience where you had friends who were looking at grants, as we talked about in last episodes, who didn't even have a business plan yet. So, question from the audience here is it possible to leverage AI to develop and forward-thinking business plan? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that as our devil's advocate who's also encountered the real-world situation of friends who aren't building business plans.
So, I mean, yes, you can leverage AI, but I think the initial step is, that individual, you have to know. It's like I said before, right? It's your business. Nobody should have a better insight and a better understanding of what that business is than you do. Okay. I think when people think of having a business plan, they get very overwhelmed to think, what it entails. But, really starting off with a business plan is really asking those, what is it that you want? Why do you want it? How do you want to achieve it? Right. And then what are you going to do? So it's really you initially thinking of, what are you looking to achieve, right? And again, it's like I said, sometimes it might just be you jotting down those quick ideas of, what you're looking to do. Why do you want to have a business, right? How do you think you're going to succeed? And then from there, once you kind of put a little bit of that penciling down of those initial ideas of what you want, then sure, you can bring in AI. AI cannot start off and say, hey, I want to have a successful business. Please give me a business plan of what I want, what I should do, or what business venture I should go into. I don't think anybody asks AI, what business should I go into, right? Because I think a lot of times when you're going into business, I hope they shouldn't, because I think wanting to start up a business has to start with that initial, that passion, right? And then from there, then you can, roll in AI to kind of help you to maybe it's a matter of what are the questions I should be thinking of when developing a business plan? What are the roadblocks that I need to factor in, within my business? So I think you can use AI just to kind of fine tune and ask those questions which you should be thinking about, right?
Yeah.
I think that there is some help that AI can use, just more in terms of finessing it towards the end. But I think the initial, input of information, it has to come from that person. I mean, that's me. I think you have to want it. And if you're saying, Andrew, people are going to AI and hey, saying what business should I start up, then that's a different ballgame, right? Now you're relying solely on, AI to, have those ideas and have that passion on that business, right? And
Yeah.
maybe I'm old school. I think it should be the other way around.
Yes, but I think like having a vision for starting a business and building a business plan can are definitely two different things. And in fact, the majority of businesses don't actually just have a business plan at all. They just get into business because they have a passion. I think most people do that because they have a passion. But I think having a business plan is critical to like having a path and helping you keep on path, getting you the most out of it. And there's a tool that I love that I've been recommending for years. It goes back to like one of my first videos I ever did with Intuit. Is a tool called Live Plan, which is a tool that business owners can use to create a business plan. And it's got templates and you basically got questions and you just answer the questions. What I actually did, to be honest, is I was looking at one point of launching when we built out North Stars. I had this vision of building an incubator for accountants and bookkeepers because no such thing exists. And that's my, like, it's on my bucket list of one day to build this incubator for accountants and bookkeepers. But what I actually did, because I was looking at that when I got sidetracked with Power Automate and RPA and AI, was last January. And what I actually did is I used Live Plan's questions and then used AI to actually start building out. I'm like, oh, those are great questions. Put them into AI, massaged it, worked the prompt, worked the output, and I built a business plan that probably I either would have never done or just pushed off or done a terrible job. And I was able to do it in just sitting there in one afternoon, build a complete business plan because I had the structure. I knew exactly what format to go through. I used AI to help me pretty up the words and get the content. I used my human intelligence to combine them together to build this great business plan. And I now have that business plan for building an incubator for accountants and bookkeepers. And so if there's anyone out there who wants to help me launch that, that's still on my wish list. But it's just been tabled right now because of what we've had to do with everything that's going on with AI and RPA. And you guys know how much I'm digging into that, but
no kidding.
I'm actually going to push this along a little bit because we have we got 3 more steps in this process. So do you mind, Rachel, if I push off the business plan and get Kasim to tell us more around the marketing strategy and the marketing plan? Because a business plan is separate from a marketing plan, right, Kasim?
For sure. And I'm so happy because we have a question from my dad here in the chat. And he asked, how do you think AI can help build a customer pipeline and a plan to target them? Hi, Dad. First of all, thank you for watching. And secondly, so I think that ties into the marketing plan, right? Because when we talk about a marketing strategy and developing a marketing plan, there's 2 things you need to be aware of, right? Now, to answer my dad's question, which is how to build a customer pipeline and a plan to target them, that's something which we discussed earlier on as well, is to create amazing killer drip marketing sequences, right? Now, how you can do that, there's like a 2 to 3 step process you have to follow, right? The first thing you have to do after all your market research, after pulling all the customer insights, is to figure out what is it that your customers want, your potential customers want, and then develop a lead magnet around it, right? Now, what a lead magnet does is that you're packaging information which is free and providing value to your potential clients, and you're giving it to them in exchange of getting them into a pipeline and getting them into a drip marketing sequence, right? And what you do after that as a marketing term, you nurture them, is that you, based on their preferences, based on which lead magnet they downloaded, which which kind of tags need to be applied to them. You tailor your nurture sequence and your drip marketing campaign according to that, right? If we just go in and ask in for a sale the next day, it could work, but chances are it's not gonna, because you have to sort of massage and make sure that you look at the bigger picture and the long term picture with the client, right? To make sure that you get that sale at the end, or whatever conversion goal that you're aiming for, right? So that's the first thing you can do. And in terms of developing a marketing plan, I keep going back to this, giving AI context and confining it. And there's like so many tools that you can find. If any of you have attended any business class, there's tools like frameworks like 7 P's of marketing, or the business model canvas, right? Where I had some business classes in university, and when you have these frameworks in front of you and you look at them and you're trying to fill them out, it's such a pain, because you can think of anything, right? You know what your business is, you know what your end goal is, but developing that 7 step or 10 step process in terms of how you're going to launch it, how you're going to market it, what channels you're going to use to market it, right? What your social media strategy is going to be, what's going to be your spend, what kind of ROI you're looking for. That's the stuff you don't really know. And with LLMs like ChatGPT, you can, find this stuff out. Now you can really get accurate outputs, but I stress this again, you have to be very precise with your context, right? You have to tell it what is it that you're trying to achieve, so you can get the best output out of it, right?
Yeah.
That I believe sums up the marketing plan.
Everything we say always circles back to that beginning, which is starting with the right objective, right? And having a very clear plan on what you're hoping to get out of the market that you're doing. And there's so many different ways that you can go with market analysis. And unfortunately, with only like 3 minutes left in the show, we're probably not going to be able to get into all of it. I'm going to, unfortunately, gloss over predictive analysis, which is hard for me because as an accountant, we are all too guilty of only looking in the rear view mirror and not looking forward with predictive analysis and putting together budgets and plans, which I think are so absolutely critical. The short answer is that you can use now AI to be able to take a look at your data, model it, and come up with some predictions based on trends. And we're not just talking annual. We can look at it across the, by month, so that we can see what kind of cyclical trends that we might be able to predict, so that we can adjust staffing, so that we can adjust purchasing. The reality is major organizations like Walmart, who came up with the just-in-time shipping method, have realized the value that does to the bottom line of your business is when you can predict what's going to happen in the future and plan accordingly, so that in Walmart's situation, they only ship enough inventory to be exactly what they need to have it just in time for their market needs. They lower their cost for warehousing costs, and they lower their shipping costs. And you can do that sort of predictive analysis for your own business. And there's a ton of what you can do there. But in the I guess final minute or minute and a half that we have left in the show, I think the last and final step is really about implementing and monitoring this system in your business, right? This analysis, that you're going to be able to generate with the AI is your glimpse into the future. And it can be precise, but as we've said over and over again, it's garbage in, garbage out. AI can be a crystal ball for you, and it can either be a really cloudy crystal ball, or it can be a crystal clear crystal ball based on what type of information that you're going to prompt into it, and what type of data that you're going to be able to share, and whether you've cleaned that data. So, the power that it has for forecasting is only as good as what you're going to provide into it and what questions that you're going to ask for the AI. Now we have literally 30 seconds left in the show, and I've got to be strict with our time this week because I have to get on another call today. But Kasim, Rachel, do you guys have any parting words or final thoughts for our audience?
Yeah, I would just say, stay tuned for more content. Follow us on our socials. We're doing a lot of content on TikTok now, fridai.fyi, fridai.fyi. Follow us on that. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and we've got ours coming up next week to get a perspective from the real estate market. We've got Jim Harris is now booked to come and talk to us with what's happened in Davos. We've got 2 other guests that are booked out that come from various industries. So now that we've covered some of the basics, we're going to hopefully dive into some real world applications and how people out there in the community are leveraging AI. And we're looking forward to sharing that with you guys in future episodes. So please do us a favor, like, share, comment, follow, do all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys back with another episode next Friday. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you.